Hello Sprouts, I'm Clover and welcome back to Clover Reads. Today I have 3 stories for you from the Am I the A-hole here subreddit. I'm going to read them, I'm going to give my opinions. If you want to do the same, I would always welcome other people's opinions to expand my own perspective. But if you don't, that's alright too. Our first story today is from Reddit user Exciting Ideal 8008. My goodness, silly Clover. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister not to announce her pregnancy at my wedding because I was going to announce mine, but she did it anyway? No, you are not. Advice needed. I, 29 female, got married 3 months ago to my amazing husband. Congratulations, OP. 31 male. It was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life, but my sister, 32 female, managed to overshadow it in a way that I can't seem to move past. A little background. My husband and I have been trying for a baby for a while, and when we finally got that positive test, we were over the moon. Congratulations on your pregnancy, OP. We decided we would share the news with our family and friends at our wedding reception. Nothing crazy, just a small, heartfelt moment during the speeches. Only my parents and my maid of honor knew about the plan. A few weeks before the wedding, my sister pulled me aside to tell me she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her, and we had a sweet moment together. Then, she casually mentioned that she was planning to announce it at my wedding. Planning. Without even asking first if she could. Oh, your sister is so rude for this. I was shocked and told her, as kindly as I could, that I would prefer she didn't. I even explained why, because I was also pregnant and planning to share the news that day. I asked if she could just wait a little longer so the day could stay focused on the wedding. She seemed a bit annoyed but didn't argue much, so I thought that was the end of it. Well, fast forward to the reception, and guess what? Right after the speeches, she stands up, clinks her glass, and announces her pregnancy. The whole room erupts in cheers, and suddenly, my wedding turns into her pregnancy celebration. I was stunned. I didn't even get the chance to share my own news because it felt like I'd just be trying to one-up her. Later, when I confronted her, she acted like I was overreacting and said she just couldn't keep it in anymore. When I told her how hurt I was, she said I was selfish for wanting to control when people share their happiness. My parents think she was out of line, but they're telling me to let it go for the sake of family peace. But I can't seem to move on. Every time I think about my wedding, I feel this little pit in my stomach because she took away a moment that was special for me. She, on the other hand, thinks I'm being dramatic and says I should be happy for her instead of making everything about myself. So am I the a-hole for not letting this go? No, I don't think you are. I mean, if she had asked for permission and you said okay, that would have been fine. So this is like if someone wants to propose at a wedding, you ask permission, and if the wedding party says no, then you don't do it. Now, I get that, pregnancy hormones can make you do crazy things. But the sister didn't even try justifying it with that. She was just like, no, it's not about you. I should be able to do what I want. I think sister just wanted a celebration for her pregnancy and thought, hey, with the wedding, I don't have to pay for it. Siblings gonna just pay for everything. That's not good. Sister was the a-hole here. OP being upset is perfectly fine. And hey, OP has the pregnancy hormones too. And as I said, if you have a different opinion, let me know. But yeah, I'm pretty firmly of the thought that, no, it was OP's wedding, and OP should have been able to announce their pregnancy. Now, if the sister had a habit of doing stuff like this, then maybe OP should have thought she might do it anyway. But if the sister doesn't have a habit of this, it would have been fun, in my opinion, to go clink your own glass, stand up and go, oh, I'm so happy you're pregnant, sister. Now our children get to grow up together and be the same age, and they can be playmates. You'll steal the thunder from the sister stealing your thunder. But I understand that could be a difficult thing to think of in the moment. Just being able to look at it 3, months later from an outside perspective. And I know clapbacks like that can be difficult in the moment. Quick trigger warning for this story, mentions of bullying and cancer. So if you want to pass it, pass it by. I don't mind. As always, timestamps will be in the description down below. And moving on to story 2 from Reddit user Potential Plane 5885. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my dad while his stepson is dying from cancer? Okay, that's a pretty bad title. But let's read on and see what it says, okay? To start with, I, 16 mil, haven't been to my dad's house in 3 years. But now his stepson, 17 mil, is terminally ill, and I'm not even responding to texts or calls from my dad. I knew my dad's stepson, Shane, before my dad married his mom. Shane was always a mean kid. He was in trouble a lot when we were younger. But in the 2nd grade, he started bullying my best friend. Shane got suspended from school for beating my best friend up. I got called to the principal's office a few times for restraining Shane or fighting back to protect my best friend. I never got suspended, but I was given detention, which my mom found crazy, and argued with the school over, but they expected me to wait for a teacher to intervene and not physically do anything to stop Shane beating up my friend. Wow, that is a shitty school. What, do you think would the school have paid for any medical bills that your friend acquired from getting beat up by Shane? Rude school. There were some other kids Shane bullied, but not physically like my best friend. One of those kids was moved to another city to get him away from Shane. Oh my goodness. My best friend ended up transferring to another school, and my mom and dad let me do the same, but it was my mom's idea. Shane got expelled from the other school because he was bullying on the last kid got worse, and he ended up in the same school as me and my best friend again. At that point, I would have gone to the school principal or the guidance counseling and said, hey, we have prior history with this kid being a massive bully. Could you keep us out of the same classes, please? At the very least. Then I found out my dad was dating Shane's mom. Dad talked to me dozens of times about his relationship with Shane's mom, and he wanted me to be civil when we spent time together, and he said I shouldn't bring my issues with Shane into family stuff. I argued with my dad and said I'd never accept Shane, and he'd never be my family. My mom was pretty disgusted with my dad when she found out about it, and she raised concerns that Shane would turn on me next because of everything. My dad said he loved Shane's mom, and he wasn't going to let childhood squabbles ruin a good thing. Childhood squabbles? Bullying someone enough that they had to go to a different school, at least 3 summons, and then bullying enough to get kicked out? That's not childhood squabbles. That is incredibly bad behavior. And what is the mom's take on her son's behavior? I hated my dad for that, and I've been so angry at him ever since. When he married Shane's mom, I basically went nuts that morning so I wouldn't be at the wedding. My dad just got mad at me and said I was behaving like a child, and Shane didn't act that way, and we were going to be brothers and family. Shane was still bullying and hurting my best friend, and I'd stand up to him. Shane's mom would get my dad to step in when we'd fight at my dad's house. I told my dad I wouldn't be nice to Shane. I wouldn't let anyone think Shane was a good person. Shane's mom told me Shane had issues because of his dad abandoning him, and it made him lash out, but she argued he was good deep down. I told her Shane was a monster, which upset her and angered my dad. He said that's not the kind of thing to say about family. Shane's not family. If they're step-siblings, you can't force them to consider each other family. Hell, for that matter, you can't force blood siblings to consider each other family. Plenty of stories about that. But if he has issues because of his dad leaving him, put him in therapy, for God's sake. On all the things cute and fluffy and nice. I told my dad I'd rather be dead than have Shane as my family. I meant it too. I was 12 then. His dad told the 12-year-old that he's acting like a child. Huh. He is and was a literal child. Technically, he's still a child because he's a teenager, not legally an adult yet. And after that fight, I asked my mom if I could live with her, so she asked a judge to give her full custody. The judge sent me and my dad to therapy for 6 months, and then when nothing was resolved, the judge agreed that I could live with my mom. Dad didn't like that. Dad didn't like the judge's ruling. Boo for him. And she told him she'd rather give mom custody than see me end up in jail because it was clear the fights weren't going to end, and I wasn't in a healthy environment at his house. LP, you were in a safe environment at that house. She did order contact between us, but it wasn't in his house contact. Like I said, it's been 3 years since I was at his house. Good. There are programs and apps for that. 7 months ago, Shane was diagnosed with cancer. My dad wanted me to drop the grudge and work on being a family and stuff, but the cancer diagnosis didn't change anything for me. But every time we talked, Dad would bring it up. Then, 3 months ago, when they were told the cancer was terminal and Shane was given a year or less, my dad told me he needed me, and there was almost no time left for me and Shane to make peace. He pressed the issue really hard and told me I needed to show I was a good person with a heart. After that, I stopped responding or answering, and I'm ignoring him. Dad tried to reach me through my mom, but she put her foot down and said no. Go, Mom. My dad leaves voice messages crying and saying he needs me and he misses me and he doesn't want to lose me, and his heart is breaking for Shane and the loss they're about to suffer, and he never needed me as much. I don't feel bad. I still hate my dad for the choices he made, and I'm not going to miss Shane or pretend like I care. He would still be bullying kids right now if he wasn't sick. He was doing it up until he left school for his treatment, and I don't think I want a relationship with my dad ever again. He chose Shane. He didn't give enough about anything else. By choosing a good thing with his wife, he chose Shane and not me, and he chose a monster. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my dad right now? And just so everyone knows where I'm at, when Shane dies, I won't go to my dad's house to support him or show up at the funeral. I won't be a part of any tribute for Shane or anything. That's how strongly I feel about this. But maybe that makes me an a-hole. I don't think so, Opie. That is a lot of pressure to put on a 16-year-old, but the onus of this was on the parents getting Shane therapy years ago. Like, when his bio dad first left, he should have been in therapy then. Maybe put him in I know there are like military type boot camps you can put kids through to try and teach them discipline. I've heard of people putting their kids through like martial arts training to try and teach them discipline and self-control. Something needed to be done with Shane. And it's sad that there is a kid out there who is going to pass soon and won't get the chance to grow up and learn from his mistakes. But it is absolutely 0% OP's responsibility to be the one to bridge that gap. The dad should have insisted, if the dad cared about his son, if he cared about either kids, really, he should have insisted on therapy. Not just for him and his bio kid, OP. He should have insisted it for Shane. Maybe the OP's stepmom also should have had a ton of therapy. Because excusing her kid's behavior is like, I know he's good really deep down. I don't care if he's bullied kids out of their school. I don't care if he would have probably put somebody in the hospital given enough time. No. Again, it's sad, but I don't think OP's doing anything wrong right now. And scrolling through the comments, I don't see anybody disagreeing. So hopefully OP's mom continues supporting him. Hopefully his dad gets his head out of his butt if he ever has a second child. Has a child with his current wife. I will feel for that kid with the parenting styles they have. Alright, and moving on to our third and final story for the day from user Intelligent Half 8061, titled, Am I the a-hole for calling off my wedding after my fiance bought a house with his mom? Okay. I would have to dig through the subreddit, but I feel like I've read a story with this title really recently. Let me know if this is a common thing to have happen. Okay, so me, 28 female, and my fiance, 30M, have been together for 5 years. We were planning our wedding for this fall and have been talking for years about our house, our future, like kids, finances, and buying a house together. We had a whole plan to save up, find something we both loved, and make it our home. This was talked about a lot. Well, turns out he already bought a house, but not with me, with his mom. And he didn't even tell me he was looking. Apparently she found the perfect place and convinced him to split it with her because she didn't want to rent anymore. So now instead of us planning our future together, he's financially tied to his mother, who's going to be living there full time. I just stared at him like, WTF? And when I asked where I fit into all this, he goes, oh, well, you can move in too, of course. Like, I'm supposed to be thrilled to live in a house with his mom picked out, partially owns, and is just there all the time. He also admitted he did it because I was taking too long to save. Taking too long to save money? What a jerk. And his mom offered him a faster way to own something. I was so shocked and pissed, I told him I needed space. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I can't marry someone who thinks this is normal. So I called off the wedding, and now his whole family is blowing up my phone saying I'm being dramatic, that it's just a house and I'm overreacting because we can live together. Even my own parents are saying that canceling the whole wedding is extreme. Like, am I losing my mind? Am I the a-hole, or is this a giant red flag? That is a giant red flag if you find yourself in your situation, okay? Because that is a house you have no stake in. That is a premarital asset now. And if you divorce, you get nothing out of it. Also, if he was being, if your potential spouse is buying a house with another relative, then they can just like sign away their half of the house to someone else. And again, that's assets for them that you don't get a part in. Now, I don't know for sure if this is a real post. I don't usually like to doubt people. And I did look at OP's post history. Well, I clicked on their name to look at their post, right? And there was nothing. This was their first post. Except as I scrolled through the comment, I found one from Waiting for Death. How about you? Waiting for Death was replying to somebody else's comment saying something made him suspicious the post was fake. And they said, sure enough, OP claimed they were 23 mil a few months ago. Fakey, fake. I clicked the link. I did the search. I didn't know you could do this, by the way, that there's a Reddit search where you can look up somebody's name and see their post history, even after they've deleted the post. And yes, there were a couple of posts that have since been deleted where OP claims to be a 23 male, or that they're meeting someone on a site called Rhea, which I have never heard of, and they're flying them out to come spend time with them. Now, I don't know then which post might be fake. Like, all the posts could be fake, or those could have been fake and this could be real. Either way, even as a fake post, the advice is still the same. If you have spoken about saving up to buy a house with your partner, then you buy the house with your partner. You don't buy it with your parent. And unless you discuss it with them, like, hey, we can't afford this right now. Would you be okay doing this? Because you can later add someone to the deed. It doesn't have to be immediate. And I would at least postpone the marriage and then go to counseling, see if there's other red flags. But if you're talking about finding your dream house together, you can't assume that your partner, unless you've discussed it in detail, you can't assume that your partner is going to know what your own dream house is. And someone else that's not a part of your relationship definitely isn't going to know what your dream house is. I wish I could give more advice on that, but it's just the common sense, really. If your partner buys a house with somebody else and says, oh, you can live there, but not like, I will also put you on the lease so that you have a stake in the equity of the house. Postpone it. Go to therapy if you can afford it. And search for other red flags. And this is all the advice I have for right now. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have other opinions on how the situations could be resolved? If it's anybody else's fault? Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.